Bhutan Solar 2013 and Bhutan Infra 2013 with the theme 4GW Solar by 2022 from Bhutan, Scope of Solar and its role in Bhutan. Honorable guests, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second day of the 6th Hydrogen Conclave 2013, organized by the ENERTIA Foundation, REPA, and in association with Bhutan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I would like to request all the speakers from India to please come on podium. Distinguished speakers from India, Mr. Srinath, Deputy General Manager, EDM, BHEL, Bangalore. Mr. PVSN Murthy, Regional Director, ENERTIA Journal. Mrs. Hardhammer, Director, ENFRAtv Solar, Germany. Dr. Hardesh Khanna, Associate Director General, Renewable Energy Promotion Association, European Union, and Chairman and Managing Director, ENFRAtv Solar in India. Mr. K. Shri Kumar, Managing Partner and CEO, Green Infra Partners. Before we start off with the presentations, I would like to request the distinguished speakers and the two Vice Presidents of the Bhutan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Professor Iyer and Mr. Mehta, to light up the lamp.
Strong one. Big. Strong one, please. I will be the last one.
Okay. So,
I would like to request the Vice Presidents of BCCI to please give away the colors to our distinguished speakers. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Pok Turing, Secretary General, BCCI, for a few words.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second day that I think it's a very interesting subject that we are going to discuss. Maybe yesterday the hydro was too complicated for many of us because it was technical, but I believe today what we are going to hear about would be much more simpler. Solar energy, I think we have been using it in Bhutan for so many years, and I think we can expand the use by using proper technology, proper products. The difference between hydro and solar, I think I don't have to explain. Solar reaches the extreme end, which is the grassroots level. And if you look at our settlements, I think we have been using solar, not in terms of commercial activity, but to give the basic lighting and heating facilities. This subject is very relevant because we are trying to promote tourism. And I guess we have seen examples that solar can be a facilitator to provide these services in faraway resorts, in villages where if you want to, evaluate your products like dryers, all this can be done through the solar energy. The trend now is to build green infrastructure, and I think solar plays a very important role. The best part of solar is that you don't have to have much of a recurrent cost, because the initial cost may be high, but after that, the recurrent cost goes down, so it has a competitive advantage. So solar, I guess, will be a very interesting subject to a lot of opportunities, and we can also have industries, small industries set up related to solar. If we are trying to overcome the difficulties that we have now, import substitution, I think we don't have to buy solar infrastructure, but we can manufacture, and this would be taken up by small enterprises. And this would also help us in meeting our goals of increasing SMEs in Bhutan, which I think we will be doing from now. And most of you who are interested can also participate in such activities and come up with a business model. And we would also like to suggest that this would be in a green area of development where incentives would be given to such initiatives, where we will also try to put these activities under the priority sector lending schemes of the government. The Chamber will be talking with the financial institutions on the priority sector lending very soon, and we would be putting this as one of the initiatives that needs to be looked at, because this is associated with revenue earning and also tourism development and of course social development where electricity has not reached. We have also seen models which has been developed by Isimod, especially for the Himalayan type of ecology. I think solar plays a very vital role. Solar can be used for pumping water, irrigation, and also heating up nurseries. So these are different uses, and I hope the technical persons who will be presenting this technology would be in a better position to do so. But this is a general overview of how you can use solar and how it can improve the economy and the society on the whole. The second theme that we are going to talk about is building infrastructures. And I think this would be a very interesting subject for our construction industry. Infrastructure does not end by building once. It needs to be replenished. It's a continuous process. That's why everywhere in the world the construction industry succeeds, because there's always a job. Because anything that is constructed has a limitation, has a life. And anything that is constructed goes through a lot of modification. So infrastructure is such an interesting area for people who are in business, because I think there are designers here. So thank you so much for being here. And I would also like to thank the resource person on the dais for giving us this opportunity to interact with you and learn from you. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Natasha. I would now like to call Professor A.G. Iyer for any comment.
First of all, I must thank Dasha for sharing for the kind of kindness, the kind of friendship that we have personally shared, and then later on the way we had built the chamber, and then that we could bring such a discussion out here. I leave it for the guys now to take over, and thanks all of you for coming here and joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iyer, for the very informative information. I would like to thank all the honorable guests who have come here to Conclave, where all our distinguished guests will now present their presentation. First of all, I would like to call upon Dr. Harish Khanna and Mr. Willie Horhammer for the ENFRAtv solar presentation.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, gentlemen. I'm glad to be here in yours to show you something about solar technology. We are a company in Germany, in the south of Germany, and the words before you hear something about solar technology. And I heard, and I promise you, we will not make it very complicated. We will show you pictures like we do it in Germany, and you will see how easy can it be to get the power out of solar technology.
Thank you, Willie. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be again here today, and it's also an honor for us to be in Bhutan. It's our first time when we are here, and I was just thinking, because a lot of things have been talked between India and Bhutan, and the bridge which is being built out of the friendship over here. So to enhance that, my background being an born Indian, but a German citizen living in Germany and USA and Switzerland for the last 50 years, I think I can build another bridge towards the subcontinent over here, bringing Germany to India and to Bhutan itself. So today is a very auspicious day. I saw yesterday was a wet day. So it was perfect for the hydro people actually. Today the Lord's sun is shining and it is a perfect day for the solar mission over here. So coming back to the solar part, we thought we will be seeing a little bit German today because this is the way we present ourselves in Germany. As everybody is in desperate need of energy, and energy is something without which we cannot survive. I think this is loud story. It is something which is like water, which is like food, and energy is there. So whatever energy is there. So the heading of our ENFRAtv company is we are the energy and solar specialists, and we look towards that and see unlimited, lot of energy at zero tariff. That is the heading. So what do we do with that? We install that daily using intelligent measures to do that actually. So energy prices are going up like anything. You see a chart over here. I don't know what you are paying over here, but if you look at the diesel price, what we are paying over there, it is €1 and nearly 77 cents per liter over there. So that means probably, if I am not mistaken, calculating, it would be somewhere about 200 new or 200 Indian rupees per liter, which we have to pay over there. With this kind of scenario, you can't run tap energy and take energy without thinking about it. The second aspect is the eco-impact of oil on the nature. Although Mother Nature has given us the oil, but it is also a contaminating part, and the contamination is through oil, where we are having a lot of emissions of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. So to avoid that, as you know, the green energy thoughts have come in and the acts have been passed in internationally to see that we reduce the carbon dioxide load and the methane load in the atmosphere. So the answer to that naturally is renewable energy. So in our presentations today, we will show you one part is how we are doing it in Germany. Then the second part is I would like to show you a little bit about the total aspect and the impact, economic impact of that. And third part where we will show you a little bit of my personal renewable project which I am doing myself in Germany, because I think it's very important. It's not only for the policymakers, but you have to implement it and somebody has to do it. And it has to, the purpose is finally to be carbon neutral or to save carbon dioxide emissions. So, and the fourth part, we will show you a small short film about ENERTIA and some of the projects which we have done over there. So let me go ahead with this. And what it says, yesterday it was even cheaper. So every day the price is going up. This is ENERTIA in Germany, the solar city in Germany where we have ourselves all the solar panels and we are doing solar energy harnessing over there. This is ENERTIA's electric mobile car. So I thank you for giving us your time and attention over here. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. So thank you very much once again.
Now we have a presentation by Mr. Srinath, DHEL of Solar, DHEL's leadership on solar and opportunities for operations in solar with Bhutan.
Good morning and welcome. We are going to have a presentation from DHEL showcasing the various kinds of technologies which we have for establishing solar power plants, basically which will generate and power communities which are far-flung and away from the grid as well as on the grid, and also the various concept to commissioning cycle and the technology that goes into it, so that probably you could adapt it to what is the plan that is being unfolded for Bhutan also as such. So let's start with the presentation. We will first going through the various kind of solar PV modules which are being manufactured by DHEL for various purposes, the various classes of types of systems, and then onward we move to the different kinds of plants and their end utilities and how they are made to customize and go with the end use, be it grid export or off-grid purpose or for hybrid systems. So here we are seeing one of the largest island electrification projects in India. This put in the Lakshadweep Island, which is in the, I would say, around 300 kilometers from the Indian coast in the Arabian Sea. So to start with, actually, this is one of the latest projects which we have done. So let's now get on and move to what goes into the system and how does the system gets built block by block, so that everybody gets a hang of what goes into the system and how it works. Basically, DHL is into automation and power electronic systems, semiconductors and photovoltaic systems, and defense electronics. In solar photovoltaics, we have silicon-based crystalline solar cells. Basically, monocrystalline solar silicon cells are used for making the PV modules, and then that is the PV module product. And in the systems, we have grid interactive, standalone, and hybrid systems. And the manufacturing plant of DHEL at Bangalore is capable of turning out 26 megawatts per shift of solar PV modules per annum. In the semiconductor devices, basically we produce the high current rectifier, the thyristors and diodes, which are used in traction and industrial processes. That's also, in fact, DHEL started this entered the semiconductor field to basically to produce the high current devices, and as an offshoot, the photovoltaic also came into existence around 3 decades back. So 90. So that's about it for the. I think you can have a panel discussion. That's on.
Thank you. Now we have Mr. Murthy from ENERTIA Germany to say a few words in German.
Distinguished guests on the dais. Today we are talking. Yesterday we had about water. Today we are going to talk about sun. In India we do Surya Namaskars. I think most of you must be knowing. Sun is called Surya, and in South the Surya Namaskars are famous. They are done to get individuals to be healthy and look fit and slim. And that's one of the things why people do it Surya Namaskars. Here, the Surya through his rays is going to give you the power, the energy and the clean energy. That's true renewable energy what we are talking about, which can be useful for the future generations. You are not destroying anything for the future generations by using the solar energy. When we talk about solar both as decentralized and off-grid, that's off-grid and direct into the grid also. Here, you have beautiful presentations have been made by Dr. Kanna, Mr. Will and Srinath. You got most of the information about solar projects, how they are going to operate and everything. Here, you have seen some of the references in BHL, they have shown about NTPC projects, how they have come up with projects. About 4 years back, in our solar forum, we have recommended that the auxiliary power consumption of the thermal power plant, which is about 6% of the total capacity of the plant, should be met through using the solar power, because thermal power plants have a vast land of unutilized land, which they can use for the solar power plants. And this is the one which has been effectively taken up, and those projects which are coming up, which have seen 2 references, NTPC has one at the 3 for which Professor has reported 6.5 crores per megawatt cost. And the other project they are coming up in addition to 3-4 you have seen in south of India at Ramgundam project of a 10 megawatt plant is coming up again for a thermal power plant. That is another potential of solar which is coming up quite big in India. Other applications also which in one of our solar enclave complex we recommended was utilizing the canals, where the water canals are there. Utilizing the water canal tops for the solar panels, and you can generate power from there also, which can be used for the nearby villages for supplying the power as a decentralized energy. And there are 2 effects, because you are saving water from getting evaporated, and also you are generating the power. So this is also a first 1 megawatt solar plant on canal based in Gujarat was commissioned also. And these also many state governments are also considering this sort of canal based solar power plants. Madhya Pradesh is considering some projects. So we expect this also is another source of solar power generation which is coming up. But rooftops is another one which is picking up in India, and I think this is one area where most of the rooftops may not have been counted into the total gigawatt power that is coming up into the offering power. Even remote villages, people are going, because India has power cuts ranging from 1 hour to 10 hours in a day, even today. So people are going for rooftops. Small rooftops, even the people living in the flats individually are connected to the rooftops and putting small solar panels. So the solar has a beautiful and good applications, and the potential is quite high. And I think the same way Bhutan is already utilizing some of the solar plants for the remote areas. So in a city like Bhutan, the rooftops are used for the solar. I think most of the power can be generated right in the Thimphu town itself. This hotel itself can generate the power also to the solar. So there is a huge potential which cannot be 20 megawatt as is shown in one of the slides here. I think it should be much bigger target to achieve for the country. And I think it also has, in terms of economy and in terms of implementation also, the time limits are quite good. So I think it's one of the things which the renewable portfolio of Bhutan will have a mix of hydro and solar. That's the best thing. And it's totally renewable energy, complete renewable energy, the solar and hydro portfolio. That's the need of the hour. I think the Bhutan policymakers will take necessary actions in this respect. I think that's what this forum should recommend to the Bhutan government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Murthy. Now I would like to call upon
Job here at hand, because I think, when we discussed, we have some representatives from DHI Infra here. Do you have? Okay. Thanks for your attending, because since we do not have your presentation, situation, so I will a little bit touch on the infra part. May not be, I may not exactly discuss only the Bhutan Education City, but we'll definitely discuss the infrastructure issues. And I have some time, and then we'll move for question and answer quickly, so the 15 minutes at least we get for question and answers. So my point on this is, I want to put certain facts in front of you. In the morning we talked about, the entire national solar mission. I told you India has a national action plan for climate change, where one of the core missions is the national solar mission. Similarly, for Bhutan also it can come, because we talked about that earlier figure of 20 megawatt. India's figure was also very low. When I met Shamsaran, that time he circulated in 2008 at one of my forums called Empower Solar, which was launched at the time. Today we have done 4 of those forums in India. At that time, India had a target of only 1200 megawatt under the mission. And I specifically went to the ambassador and said, a mission must look like a mission. It cannot be megawatt, it has to be gigawatt scale. Failing which, the use of the word mission has to be dropped. So he said, Professor, you have a point. We are making this draft and we will circulate this draft in this forum. And Ambassador Shamsar was kind enough to circulate the draft to all the people who attended this at Tarkman Singh in New Delhi in 2008. And then the rest was history, because after that it was a gigawatt, 20 gigawatt. But I will tell you an event which happened after that. Then we had Dr. Farooq Abdullah, my favorite minister, who was championing the cause of ministry at the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy for all renewables. He was written a letter from my side, because I said, sir, we should embrace higher capacities. Shyam Saranji went with 20 gigawatt, but ministry was still not ready at the center, in spite of his going with the 20 gigawatt model. So I had written a letter for 30 gigawatt. So they wanted to know what was my reason at the time. So I gave the reason that India's power generation capacity, when it goes up, then the percentage of power generated from solar should be substantial for a mission document, And I will tell you why that is true, because in the case of solar insolation, you get about theoretically 8 hours, but practically the generation you will get only for 5.5 hours. Am I right, sir? For a country like India. Maximum optimal, maybe in Rajasthan, Gujarat, you can get 6.5 hours. In Bhutan, you can expect 5 hours. So we need to practically understand that it's only the availability of the sun during which you can generate this electricity. Because that point must be very clear. So I saw some portion of the presentation of Srinath on hybriding, right? So basically in India, hybriding is going to be concept, that we have so much of wind power, we have something like 20 gigawatt of wind power coming up, and all of those wind power farm, between them, they have a lot of spaces and they are wasted. And you don't have to create additional distribution infrastructure and transmission infrastructure. You can plug in the solar right there. But this needs a policy, and unfortunately in India we don't have still a policy for hybridization of solar and wind. So these are all the experiences as we go along. We take one step, we go to the next, Luckily in Bhutan there is no wind issue right now. But I am telling you, wind for Bhutan. Bhutan must seriously think about not the first. Bhutan should go solar, in my opinion, and then only go to the wind. Because wind must be tried very, peacefully and not in a hurry. Because wind became a depreciation model. Wind needs a lot of, it's like a drain, and many times people are putting up only for gaining depreciation. In the case of solar, it is not so. Solar is, as I told you, is becoming profitable on its own. The feed-in tariff mechanism, which was support system of the governments worldwide, are going to be finished shortly because of grid parity of solar. So even if it is 6.5 hours, that is the time of the day when you can use it. I'll give you an example. All of us get up with the sun, and all of us end our day with the sun. right? Most of your offices in Bhutan close at 5 o'clock, right? And I think you must be starting at 9 o'clock or 9:30. What's the time? 9, okay. So your solar installation is perfectly strong at 9, 8:30, 8:45 will become strong. In Bhutan it will become earlier because it gets the sun actually much earlier. So maybe you will get it at 8 o'clock or even before, production of power. And then by the time you taper off of the day, the sun is still there generating power. So it is with your business cycle that it will operate. So you have a sun cycle for both India and Bhutan. So that is the advantage of that power delivery because you will not need any other source to fund your growth. So I would rather see solar as, you should use solar for Bhutan as well. You should increase your own capacity. So while I say 4 gigawatt, maybe 2 gigawatt can be used by Bhutan, and if that is possible, then Bhutan will have several industries supported by solar. It could be IT, it could be telecommunication, it could be infrastructure, it could be education, and all of these issues will come in and they will need power delivery. And that delivery will be this. And the cheaper one, which is your hydropower, and which is in volume, where you can make large profit, because a very large volume will be hydropower. It will not be 10 gigawatt. I hear figures of 80 gigawatt now. Sorry, something like 80 gigawatt potential. If that is true, even 50% of that is achieved. That means you will be trying to transact 40 gigawatt of hydro strategically as international trading of power or international export of power. And all that earning will make Bhutan's GDP go up, and the people in Bhutan will have the highest per capita in the region, in South Asia. So transportation. So I think that the problem is transportation. Like for example, China put up larger machines in 3 gorges, right? That's an example. Thimphu is another. That project has been operating for 20 years as the best environment-friendly project with 4 countries in cooperation: Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil. And in fact, it's so exciting that Brazil consumes 65% of the electricity produced, and Uruguay's economy is completely run by the payment that Brazil makes. So that's the kind of cooperation that has happened for 2 decades. And that project had a lot of opposition when it came up, because the environmentalists came up with the idea that 50,000 species are lost because of the project. And I will give you the good news that within less than 10 years they retrieved not 50,000. Now they have 60,000 surviving species on the Thimphu basin at the inside the Amazon basin of Brazil, and that project is an environmentally successful project in the world as a hydropower plant. But the machines used were larger size.
That's to add up the economy of that area has changed.
Absolutely. So bigger machines in any game, whether it's a solar, whether it's a thermal, whether it's a hydro, the larger the machine, better the performance. Better, like for example, even in wind, India is now producing machines we are manufacturing within India. 6 manufacturers are there. 1 megawatt to about 2 megawatt size we can make within our own country. So earlier we used to give 250 kilowatt or even 100 kilowatt turbines, which used to go. So now the wind turbines are 1 megawatt plus. People have now, because they use less land, the land use pattern changes and machines are more efficient. They are able to deliver more, and the generation is also, and output is also better. So we have to come out of this mindset of flexibility, because flexibility results in more problem, more moving parts. Whereas the lesser number of moving parts will come when you put lesser number of machines. And that is the game that is being played worldwide. So you will have to also look at it. So I have touched up a variety of issues here. I think for beginning, this will look quite a few issues, and more meetings will be needed. More education will be needed, more interaction will be needed. We need to exchange, and yes, Bhutan will also have to see, what all it can do finally. These are all suggestions, but together we need to find what we can achieve, what probably is a bottleneck, where we can correct things. So this is a two-way approach, and I congratulate all the people who have come and supported this forum. Once again, thanks to Bhutan, a big thanks from my side and my team. Thank you once again, my friends. And if there are any question and answers, the panel is there for you. We can continue and then...
Methodology is that you have the sun coming in, so there are wafers which are made from ingots. We talked yesterday about silicon. Silicon is the basis of all this material actually. So from silicons you make ingots, which is a very, very complicated process. because you need very high temperature based furnaces, and from these these ingots, when they come out, then these are like chips, wafers, what we call. We have to cut them very, very precisely. So from these chips or from these wafers, you plant them into the modules that I think he can tell you because he's manufacturing them. So basically it's a mechanical process as far as the manufacturing part is concerned. Now as far as the composition, it's a photovoltaic cell, so that means you are taking the light energy into it, converting it into through an electrochemical process, and converting into direct current actually. And from this direct current, you are coming into the inverter. Inverter is then converting into the alternate current, and that is basically the system. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Should I declare it? A little light is coming, the electrons go to the other side, from plus to minus, and it's working. And you must, this is a circuit, yes.
It's a closed circuit.
Nothing happens, and I was always asked what happens if the circuit is not closed and the sun goes down, goes on this wafer. You can answer? Nothing, because the circuit is open. Yeah? Very good question. A little bit more than hydro. It depends on where you have the field, how you make the current. I think it's 5 times more. No? How much? What do you call it?
Basically, we have been hearing cost of 65 crores, 70 crores today for a megawatt actually, you see. So if I look at the hydro prices and if I look at the construction costs of the hydro prices, I think it is nearly coming to the same level actually. So, but naturally it depends on plant to plant, and what is the volume of that. So in Germany we have a slightly different cost structure because our labor costs are higher, and in the Asian regions the labor costs will be slightly lower. So if you are looking at a turnkey operation, there will be a slight trade-off on material, and on the other side, on the logistics side, and third part is the construction side. So we just cannot generalize and say that the cost is higher or lower. You have to really look into the total aspect. And as I mentioned, prices have come down. Originally, we were talking about $7,500 per kilowatt when we started somewhere, And now today we are talking about $1,000 per kilowatt actually, you see. So these are the ballpark figures, but then again it depends on the project what you're looking at actually. Do you agree to that?
Yeah, more or less. Actually, one added advantage of photovoltaic systems is that, as was mentioned by Dr. Khanna, the PV plants start functioning off the block earlier. That means that as soon as the plant is put, it starts working, whereas the gestation period of a hydro power plant is almost 7 to 8 years. That means the currency starts flowing much later. So the overall net cost spent on a photovoltaic plant has to see with respect to that kind of long time returns. So always that PV will outweigh hydro in terms of net cost which is spent on the system.
I mentioned today morning the technological evolution, and I said we have to look at the future. So future, that means, as I mentioned as an example, prices are coming down on photovoltaic, whereas the technology, the hydroelectric technology has also improved, but it has stabilized at a certain level. So as far as the technological evolution is concerned, I don't think you can do much more on that, you see. But whereas in the photovoltaic system, you can still, there's a lot of potential left there. So in the long run, as I mentioned earlier, if the solar share today in the renewables is about 26%, and hydro is also 26%. So you can imagine which is going to move faster and which is going to be more economical and which is going to be more profitable on the long run. Yes. Is that clear? Does that answer your question?
Any questions? So let me say one sentence to you. When I come here to Bhutan, I've heard it's the land of the lucky people, isn't it? Happy people, happy people, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. So you can make the energy people also, you can be the energy country, region, and grader of happiness, yes. This is my sentence to you. Okay.
Any other questions? So I consider, okay.
How does the energy use up in the production? Sorry?
Something wrong with it? It's not working.
How does the energy that is used up in the production of solar panels? How does the embodied energy of the solar power systems or the energy used up in the production and installation of solar power systems compares with the energy that it generates? Or basically, what's the energy payback period in solar panels?
A very good question. It's a very, very good question. The maximum energy which is utilized in the is to manufacture the ingots actually. So if you look at the ingots, there are only very, very few companies in the world who are manufacturing the ingots actually. So mainly there are, and especially you need a special sand, special silicon sand also, which is also not available everywhere actually, you see. So the major areas for this where the resources are available is China, Russia, Iran, and basically these are the main countries where you are getting the sand actually, the silicon.
Also India has also got it.
India, I don't know how much.
India, it's the biggest one.
Yeah. Okay.
Biggest one is India.
It is not sand, it is a different quality.
I know, but Rajasthan can produce, I'll tell you, ingot for the whole world.
Yeah, but is it extracting it? Is it
They are not, I mean, because it's a highly capital intensive.
Exactly.
That is why, not that they don't have,
Okay.
they have the whole
So,
capacity.
manufacturing, as far as is concerned, Germany is manufacturing ingots, China is manufacturing ingots, and Russia is manufacturing ingots actually. These are the main countries, and now US has also started actually, because there are a lot of US collaborations with China which are doing that. But this is a major energy utilizer, and if you look at the DEAN 14001, which is basically energy management and ecological management system actually, which is today really looking at the energy utilization from a holistic approach and saying what I'm consuming and what I'm producing. So this is something which all the modern companies have to put into balance, because they have to do ecological balance when they are manufacturing. So depending upon the value chain, how they're utilizing that, there are certain systems which are still going to be improved, because when you are putting the wafers together, you need silicate gas actually. So this is consuming the maximum power also, and this is the most expensive part, which is actually making the wafers expensive. So now with the new technologies coming up in the next generation, this cost will go down, and in that way the energy cost will also go down. So we have a lot of R&D going on in that area. Okay?
Actually, the maximum power
gets put into the system or the material, which is called the embodied energy of any material. Like you consider a sheet of glass which is put on a building, or you consider a steel frame or something which is put on the door of the building. Have you ever considered how much energy has actually gone into making that particular material? That means the extraction of the ore from the mine, purifying it in a smelter, taking it to a rolling mill, rolling out that particular steel section, bringing it, welding it and fixing it. So there is actually the embodied energy cost which is associated with every item. So when you look at the solar PV module, you would look at the glass sheet which is on the top, the solar cells and the aluminium frame which is actually framing the thing, and the plastic material which is at the back. These are primary objects or components of the PV module. It used to be almost a percentage a decade back. Now it's in terms of less than 0.5% of the total energy which would emanate from the PV module. That way things are under control and still keeping on coming up. We are able to bring out more and more energy efficient materials and more energy efficient processes, so that the embodied energy content of the PV module is lesser and lesser. So that's why when we spoke about energy efficient building, what Professor told is you try to use materials which don't consume by themselves huge amount of energy in order to produce, and that you don't bring and put in a building. So that's how the total energy value, embodied energy value of the building also comes down. This applies to all the materials which we keep around us. So at present you can say the fraction of energy which is associated with the PV module manufacture is very minimal compared to the overall lifetime energy generation of the PV module.
Any more questions, friends? Since last 2 days, we are enjoying the hospitality of all of you and people. We have just enjoyed it in a very well manner. I'll conclude it, but before that, the London panelists are here. Let me recognize the service they have given today with a small token of appreciation. My request, both the Vice President of the Bhutanese Chamber to come and give them a small appreciation certificate. Mr. Chen Dordi, please come, and Mr. Chen, please come. So first, I request Mr. Chen provide this appreciation certificate to Srinath. You can provide this certificate to Mr. PVS and Murthy. Please do the honor with Willie Hammer. Dr. Khanna, will you accept this? Please come forward.
Thank you very much.
So Mr. Sri Kumar, please come forward. Yeah, we have one more for Mr. P.K. Upal. He is not here today, but may I request BHL people to come and accept on behalf of. So thank you, friends. Friends, we are here since last 2 days. We are hearing hydropower, solar power, whatever ways of renewables. We have heard professor, we have heard learned panelists, we have heard you. We have heard your people about the investment, infrastructure, and opportunities on policies. Lot many things we have talked today and yesterday. But see, basically, if we see the fundamental laws of the science, what is energy? And what science says? Energy is never being, you can say, in other way. You can convert the energy, but it is never being lost. Whatever energy is there in the universe, it is there. It can be converted, but it can be never lost. The sun is there since millions of years. Like water on this earth, if you will understand the hydrological cycle, not a single drop of water has gone out of this planet since its existence. So what is matter? So who we are in this God's creation? Who we are? That's the question when we are talking all these things. See, either we are the custodian of the God's creation or we are the caretakers of our future generations. So whenever we are talking about the policies, what policies we have to make for our present existence business people or some few politicians or the common people or for the future or for the creation of the God what He has created for the benefit of that. That are the questions we are living here today. You have to answer whatever way you can do it. But friends, as I told, we have enjoyed it very well here. Today's conversation will come again as Professor has said. And see, if we want to conclude it as a nation to nation, India and Bhutan, I'll say in this way, if you are walking behind us, then I cannot lead you. If you are walking ahead us, then I cannot follow you. So it's my request, let's walk together, let's walk beside us, and together we will progress. That's all from this panel. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.